Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome to the Six Bugle Podcast. Thank you for joining us. My name is Rudy Ruiz. I'm your host, and I'm also here with my co-host, Christie Hensler. Christie, how are you?
Good morning. Well, I guess it might not be good morning there. I'm well. So it's
Eight
morning here.
o'clock.
Yeah. Yes.
Unless you're
So
watching it later, okay, obviously, then that's when
yes.
I say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening.
So
I don't know when you're going to be
yeah.
watching. I wanted to make sure you
Yeah.
cover all three, right? Yeah,
Yes.
and I've been doing that since the very beginning. And people will say, "Why do you say that?" Well, I don't know when you're watching.
That is very true.
I don't know.
You say it pretty smooth too. I would have it all butchered up. Just like I can't even answer how am I? So
So we're still
yeah.
reeling from the conference that we had back in September, and
It's already been it's 2 weeks. I was thinking last night, I was like 2 weeks ago, I was sitting in Kentucky getting ready to go there.
yeah.
Yeah. Hard to
So,
believe.
and I'm glad you did that. I'm glad you were able
Yes.
to reflect a little bit on the way
Yes.
here, or prepare
And
on
the way back.
and then reflect on
Yes.
the way back. That's always good. So I wanted to talk about some of the speakers that were there, and there was some that really affected the attendees. And
Mhm.
one of the ones that you received a lot of feedback from was from Ben Snyder. Ben Snyder is a
Yes.
pastor from Cedar Creek Church, and his topic was the strength of weak ties. Tell me what you found from that.
Yeah, I received, well, I heard a lot of good information. And then as I looked at the surveys and when we did the insights wall where I had people write post-its, I saw like, I, I mean, there were some similar takeaways, but then there were some different things. So I just wanted to like read a few of these that you ladies actually wrote, and then, reflect on a couple of my own stories with this. And then like, how do we keep this going in our life? How do we continue to be intentional about it? And so, but some of the, and for those of you that weren't there, Ben really talked about how, the people that are in our life, maybe acquaintances or people we know, but they're not the people that are super close in our life. They're not the people we're going to dinner with once a week or church with necessarily all the time, or, they're not our spouses or our kids or our parents, but those are our weak ties, but they still matter.
Mhm.
They matter greatly. They matter a lot more than we realize sometimes, and how, we have connections with so many weak ties. And then when we connect with their weak ties, they have connections with, and it just kind of continues to expand out. Obviously, he had a fancy PowerPoint and explained this way better. But just that's the concept for those of you that weren't there, so you can follow this. But, some things that I wrote that I watched were read where somebody said they had an aha moment. Being an introvert, realizing it's okay to know-ish someone, which was Ben's term there, and
Right.
not having to connect further, and it's okay because it's hard to reach out. And
Sure.
that made me realize, yeah, it is, because I'm part extroverted, part introverted. Some people think I'm all extrovert. I'm not. But sometimes when you are introverted and all introverted, you think, oh, if I have to over invest in these relationships and reach out, like you just don't have the capacity to do it. And so I think this was freeing for whoever, I don't know who wrote these, but whoever wrote this, that like, oh, I can just know-ish someone. I can send a quick text, or I can, think about this or wave to them in church or whatever, but I don't have to like heavily invest in this person.
Right.
So I'm sure other people felt that way. And then somebody else wrote investing appropriately. So that was interesting to me too, because again, it's similar. A similar train with that is like, you sometimes we overinvest in people we don't need to, and so just understanding like who are the strong ties in your life, which is probably only a handful in all of our lives, and who are the weak ties, and where do you invest and how do you invest appropriately.
Right.
Another one was value in the weak ties to expand, connect with others, and appreciate each other. And I think that's key, like appreciating each other and appreciating the value that those people bring that you
Exactly.
don't have, And I see this in my own life, which I'll share a couple things in a minute. Some in really deep, impactful ways, and some in really small ways, but
Mhm.
still meaningful all the same.
Absolutely.
Um, Continue to work at winning at home. This is somebody like saying they need to keep this going. Send that text message or email to build on that weak tie. And that was something that Ben had mentioned, and we'll talk about that when we get to the actionable steps. And then the last one, the simple act of kindness and its impact on someone else. And I think, that's true too. We think so many times that like something is just so small and meaningless, but it's really sometimes those are the most profound things.
Yes, absolutely.
So you want to add to that before I move on?
Yeah, so I was really impressed with his his piece. I've heard it before, and that's when I thought I got to bring him to the Six Bugle
Hmm.
because it was very powerful. And the thoughts of not really understanding the value of weak ties, and I like using that word too because, like you said, it's not just appreciating people, but valuing people. They're still they can still bring value to your life, and they still have opportunities to make a change or make a positive impact. I would like to talk about the whole introvert extrovert thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I truly believe you are an introvert. Because, and I say that because introverts make the great speakers. Great speakers are mostly introverts. It's just that you're
Hmm.
exhausted at the end, right?
Hmm.
And people think you're I'm sorry, an introvert. People think you're an extrovert because you're out there, you're doing it,
Right.
you're exposing yourself and all that kind
Hmm.
of other stuff, and so people think that you're an extrovert when actually you're
Yes.
an introvert. And but because introverts are usually typically make the best speakers,
Hmm.
and it's just that you pour your heart out and you're exhausted at the end.
Yeah.
And that's true for a lot of people. So for that person who made that comment, I'm an
Hmm.
introvert. That may be true, but know that when you do speak publicly or speak to the friends that you have or the weak ties that you have, know
Hmm.
that that's when your strength really comes out. So
Yes.
be free and open to use those things
Hmm.
because then it's honest and true, and the
Hmm.
people receiving it would be truly appreciative of that. They know it's coming
Yes.
from the heart.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's yes, so true. And I mean, you all wrote sticky notes for that, and I'll type them up, but there was a bunch of them, but I just pulled out a few just to give you some examples on this podcast.
That's
And as I was reflecting on my own life, I could go, I'm not going to, I could go on for an hour, and so could Rudy probably about all the weak ties in my life and just different things. But, two kind of just two ends of the spectrum for me. I met with a friend yesterday that I haven't seen in a while to grab some tea in the afternoon and just catch up. But this was a friend that I say friend, and she is kind of they're kind of weak ties to a point. But I met her when I first moved to Huntsville. She was the president of our local Rotary Club, and I showed up the one day to the Rotary Club, and they were like, "Who invited you?" And I was like, "Google," because I didn't realize I had an invite. So here I
good.
am, and and I ended up joining that club for a couple of years and serving on the board, and we got to know each other. And her husband is an aerospace engineer in Huntsville, and at the top of one of the big companies. And he's kept we go out here and there. I mean, but we could go months without seeing them. And and he would keep saying to Matt, come work for me. And at that point, Matt wasn't ready to go full time to work yet. But finally, 2 years ago when he was, I said, you need to message him. And that connection that was like hardly there, I mean, like just enough, got Matt a job that he could never landed on his own, and got him a job that he didn't fit all the criteria that HR wanted. And they even tried to kick it out when he was supposed to start, and all we had to do was call our weak tie and be like, hey, this is what HR is telling me. And he made the call and said, I want this guy, do the paperwork, and so like, and then the other end of the extreme is, I have a connection with the plant lady. Some of I love my house plants, but and that works at Kroger. She's been there for almost 40 years. And I just started talking to her the one day, and we just connected. And I go in there like once a week. I grab her usually a tea or a root beer or something she likes to drink, and she saves me plants, she saves me vase, she saves me things she probably shouldn't be saving me. And so like, and she, but like every once in a while she'll just be like, hey, I have something for you, or or she's like, hey, I got plants and I have them hidden until you tell me what you want. Like, and she just, it's the stupidest thing in a sense, but it just makes my day, and it makes hers probably just having me come in as a happy customer for a few minutes and talking to her. And so it doesn't have to be anything extreme, and so it's just, I mean, the question is, who do you think of, Rudy? Do you think of what somebody that's a weak tie in your life that's made a difference?
Oh yeah. And when we brought this up, I immediately thought about the fire chief who made a tremendous, and there's a few, but the one that made a tremendous impact on me was my fire chief from Sandusky, Chief Paul Ritchie. And he's moved on, retired and moved on, and is living in a wonderful hill in Tennessee, living the good life.
Oh, nice.
But I remember when I first started speaking in public, he was in the room one time. We were at the Ohio
Okay.
Chiefs conference, and I got a chance to be one of the speakers. And he was in the room, and I just said, I want to tell everybody here that there's a person in my life that tr made a tremendous impact, believed in me, and gave me all the opportunities in the world for me to actually be here.
Hmm.
And so he did get to hear me say that. And there's
Hmm.
been quite a few times where I've spoken public and at national conferences where I've mentioned his name. And
Hmm.
one day I thought, he hasn't heard me say that at the national level. So I want to make sure
Yes.
he understands that years later, I still believe that, and I still speak about him fondly
Hmm.
and positively. And I found him through Facebook, and I reached out to him, and he's not very active on Facebook, but he finally reached out to me, and I told him
Nice.
how much I appreciated him and how much he has impacted my life, and I just wanted him to know that
Hmm.
again. And of course, he appreciated that, and he said, "Thank you very much for that."
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, those things that happen, you have a tendency to forget about, and
Yes.
you grow and you do other things, and there's other people obviously that impact your life.
Hmm.
There's quite a few in my life that have impacted me first,
Sure.
but I wanted to remind
Yes.
him that he was the one that actually kickstarted the whole thing.
Started it.
And you're right, and I still to this day appreciate that.
Yeah, and that when you were talking, I was thinking that this isn't on my list of to-dos, but like, yeah, I think it's a good go appreciate those people. You know, if you're thinking of somebody when we're talking, or if you're like, oh, this person helped me get my job, or this person introduced me to my spouse, or I mean, if
Yeah,
you're happy, thank them. But you know, like, but you know, go thank that person. Send a card, send a text, send a Facebook
yeah,
message, phone call, whatever. You know, I mean, everybody likes to be appreciated, even if it's somebody I haven't talked to in 10 years, 20 years, you know, just say, hey, thanks. Like this means a lot to me, you know?
yeah,
And so I would encourage you to, you know, number one on my list was reflect. Think back and when has a week time made a real difference in your life? And I would encourage you to just reflect on that, but then, you know, go send a thank you or appreciation or whatever that looks like. And then, you know, who else just popped into your head while listening to this? Like maybe there's somebody like Ben said, maybe I do this all the time. I send a quick text. If I'm thinking of somebody or somebody's on my heart, and a lot of times I can't tell you the number of times I did that. And somebody's been like, hey, thanks, I'm going through a divorce. Or
my,
hey, thanks. I just, you know, and you're, my mom just died or something. And you're like, and so like, if somebody's on your mind and somebody's popping into your head as you're watching this today, I'll like go message them, however you can communicate with them. And then, you know, just keep, just be aware of this whole concept, I think, throughout your life. You know, I think we all, it's there, it's been there in all of our lives, but until he put it together like that, some people didn't see it that way, you know? And
right.
it does prove a whole different thing too, that this is just off the cuff, but that everything we do matters, even when it's the little things. You know, you just don't realize how much the little things make a huge difference sometimes for people. And so no kind gesture, word, phone, anything is too small.
Yes, absolutely. And
So
I've been studying a lot about neuroscience and the universe.
yes.
Some people would even, Ben specifically would even say this is Jesus' way of saying, if it pops into your head, and like you said, give a quick
Mhm.
text, there's a reason for that.
Yes.
Energy is feeding you
Mhm.
something,
Yes.
receive that energy. Don't ignore it.
Mhm.
Receive it, and because there's somebody somewhere is trying to tell you something, whether it's
Yes.
the universe, Jesus, Allah, whatever it is, whatever, however you want
Mhm.
to define it, somebody is or something is trying to tell you something. So receive it,
Mhm.
act upon it because there's a reason for that happening.
Do
Absolutely.
something with it. Yes.
That's
Yes. So don't delay, just do it. Yeah, I mean, this just happened to me a couple months ago. I kept thinking about somebody and I was like, I really don't want to message her. I do not have it in me to do a 2 hour phone call. Like, but you know, and I was just that's the introvert. And I was like, just like, and I could not get her. And then I messaged her because I had talked to her months. And then she was like, yeah, I was diagnosed with 4-stage cancer. And I'm like, all this stuff and that. And I was like,
yeah,
Christie. And so
yeah,
so I was like glad that I finally like
yeah,
normally I don't delay my gut like that. And so yeah, if somebody's on your mind, listen to this. I would encourage you to
yep,
reach out. It doesn't have to be overcomplicated. It
right.
could literally be, hey, I'm thinking about you. You're on my mind. Like, period. Like, it could be that simple.
Yep, you're receiving that energy. Do something about that.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
because you're gonna uh, receive tenfold from it, and
Yes.
just to be able to take it, be an opportunity to be a good friend, just
Yes.
out of nowhere. How special?
Yeah.
How special would that be? Fantastic.
So, yeah. So, great thing if you, and I think, did you give his presentation? Is it uploaded for the people that were there into
Uh,
the Google?
no, I have to reach
Okay.
out to him and see if it's okay.
Okay.
I don't know how proprietary it is for him, but
Gotcha. Okay.
yeah, I
So,
can.
if we get a hold of that, we'll let you know in the Facebook group or whatever.
Yep,
Yeah,
definitely.
and that's one. This is totally PS, but some of you even at the conference, and if you're not, we do have a Six Bugle Facebook group, and if you're not in there, please request to be in there. If
Mm.
you just go to Facebook and search the Six Bugle, or
Yeah.
you'll find it.
And share your
And
wins. Share your wins with,
yes,
we
yes,
would love to celebrate with you.
for sure. Yes, we'd love to hear from you. It'd be awesome to get some people on this podcast from the conference and just get some of their takeaways. That
Yes.
was a random thought.
If you were at the conference, you want to be on our podcast,
Yes.
and I asked a number of you already, and
I'm gonna
good
message
luck.
some of you, not to
Good
mention
luck.
any names.
I'm not gonna. I've never given any aha questions or put people on the spot, and that's whenever I have guests, I always say there are no gotcha questions. There's not
Right.
any aha type of questions. It's
Yes.
these are all very basic questions and basically a conversation. We're just having
Yes.
a
For
value
sure.
conversation that brings value. Good.
Yes.
All
So
right.
yeah, so go do something.
Yeah.
Recognize your weak ties, appreciate them. Be a weak tie for somebody else, all the things.
Yes, yes, definitely. Yeah, you'll be happy
So
you did. Well, thank you very much for this conversation, Christy. It certainly does bring a lot of light to some of the things that we talked about. And yeah, we're still talking about that conference. That's how powerful it was. So be sure to be
yes.
here next time. We pencil in your calendar. We've got September 16th, 17th, and
September the
18th,
18th.
2026. So
Yay.
still thinking
And
about,
it'll come fast.
yeah,
Don't
yeah, yeah.
think. I mean, this one I felt like we were just starting to plan it, and all of a sudden it was like, it's gonna be here.
And
So
since we're specifically for fire departments, we understand that fire departments schedule their budget a year in advance. So if at closer to the end of the year, make sure you submit that to your chief. Let
mhm.
them know how much value this brought to you and how much important this investment's going to make. Make sure you put that on your budget proposals. And if your budget doesn't come till sometime in June, make sure you put that on your calendar so that when budget discussions are being made, you can remind them that this may be sure to put this on the budget list as professional development because this is exactly what we do it for.
Yes.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you very much for joining us here in the Six Bugle podcast. We hope you join us again next week. Everyone, take care.